Good morning, children. We are continuing the next part of the chapter, that is respiration. Okay? We all know respiration is the process of taking in oxygen-rich air and giving out air rich in carbon dioxide. The process of taking in oxygen-rich air is called inhalation, and giving out of carbon dioxide-rich air is called exhalation. This is the process of breathing. And after breathing, the oxygen goes to the cells. Okay? Cellular respiration takes place and release energy from the food. So we can understand that respiration has two main steps: breathing and cellular respiration. Breathing and cellular respiration. Breathing is called external respiration, and cellular respiration is called internal respiration. So in short, we can say respiration consists of external respiration or breathing and internal respiration or cellular respiration, right? But there are two categories of respiration: aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. You may have studied about it. You have studied in lower classes. Aerobic respiration is a complete breakdown of glucose in the presence of oxygen. Oxygen helps in the complete breakdown of glucose. In aerobic respiration, that happens in the cytoplasm and in mitochondria. Okay? Aerobic respiration takes place in some cytoplasm and mitochondria of the cells, that in which the complete glucose, complete food is broken down completely. So complete breakdown of food in the presence of oxygen, that is called aerobic respiration. In aerobic respiration, more amount of ATP energy is released. That is another point. Okay, more amount of energy is released. Whereas in anaerobic respiration, incomplete breakdown of glucose. Glucose is partially breakdown. So only some part of the glucose is broken down. Or the what we call respiratory substrate. Usually respiratory substrate mainly is the glucose. Glucose is the major respiratory substrate. It can be fat or protein or any other food nutrients, but mainly glucose is the major respiratory substrate. So incomplete breakdown of glucose results in the less amount of energy in the form of ATP. That happens in our muscle cells as well as in microscopic organisms. Now let's see what happens in this respiration in general. We can represent the respiration in the form of a schematic stepwise breakdown of glucose. Glucose undergoes stepwise breakdown. So I am going to write. We call it chemistry of respiration. In the board examination, it asks the chemistry of respiration. So let me draw as the glucose is the major respiratory substrate. Glucose is the major respiratory substrate. You know this is the 6th carbon compound, glucose. Now glucose, in where it happens? Cytoplasm. In cytoplasm, the glucose breakdown into pyruvate or pyruvic acid. Pyruvate means pyruvic acid. That is a 3 carbon compound. So of course we can understand the 2 molecules of pyruvate is formed. Okay? In the aerobic, some amount of energy also released. This is happening in the cytoplasm. This process of conversion of glucose into pyruvate or pyruvic acid is called glycolysis. 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 You got this first step of all reactions. So this is common for both the aerobic and anaerobic steps. In both the aerobic and anaerobic reactions, this is the common step. You got it? Clear. Now, what happens to this pyruvate? Now, pyruvate undergoes 3 major steps. Pyruvate. In the first step, in the absence of oxygen. In the absence of oxygen. In the absence of oxygen, we can say in yeast. Yeast is a unicellular bacteria. It's a unicellular fungus. In yeast, the pyruvate break down into we can say ethanol and carbon dioxide. Ethanol plus carbon dioxide plus an amount of like fungus, unicellular fungus in the absence of oxygen. What happens? The pyruvate breakdown in the ethanol as carbon dioxide. This ethanol as carbon dioxide is widely used in fermentation process of brewing and baking industry. Brewing and baking process. This reaction is being utilized. At the same time, the muscle cells, in the absence of oxygen, you can understand the absence of oxygen or lack of oxygen. You can say absence of oxygen. In the absence of oxygen, what happens? In muscle cells, the pyruvate breakdown into lactic acid. Lactic acid plus carbon dioxide plus some amount of energy. So this lactic acid accumulation in the muscles cause muscle cramps. Lactic acid accumulation in the absence of oxygen it happens. In the absence of oxygen was there, but it is used for aerobic respiration. In the absence of oxygen, now the oxygen is no more in the muscles. That time, this anaerobic respiration takes place. Lactic acid is formed. Okay, along with carbon dioxide. This lactic acid now, cause muscle cramp. Both these reactions are together called anaerobic respiration. Anaerobic respiration. In the absence of oxygen, here also in the absence or lack of oxygen. So, in yeast and muscle cells, anaerobic respiration takes place. Whereas in mitochondria, aerobic respiration takes place. There is presence of oxygen. Oxygen is present in the mitochondria. Okay, in the cells. Now you can understand completely the pyruvate breakdown into carbon dioxide, water, and energy. Completely the pyruvic acid is converted into carbon dioxide, water, and energy. This is complete oxidation. In the presence of oxygen, completely the pyruvate is broken down into carbon dioxide, water, and energy. And more ATP is released here. ATP. What is ATP? Adenosine triphosphate. Okay, this adenosine triphosphate is the what we call energy currency of the cell. Energy currency of the cell. You can see that this energy can be released from this ATP. Understand? Right? Adenosine plus 3-phosphate. You can see adenosine plus 3-phosphate. Stand the bond. This is the bond. The bond break and releases energy. So adenosine diphosphate, adenosine monophosphate, etc. will be formed like this. So this is called the chemistry of respiration. Everybody understood it? Okay? Right. I am working it. Here we consider the respiration in unicellular and multicellular organisms. Unicellular organisms usually respire. They don't have any specialized organs for the respiration. They obtain the oxygen through their body surface by diffusion. Whereas in higher animals, they need more oxygen to release more energy from the food. So they develop surface area with a delicate network of extensive system of blood vessels, so that more exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide can take place. So in various animals, there are different types of respiratory process. Let us study the human respiration. Now I am drawing the diagram of human respiratory system. Okay, respiratory system I am drawing now. Okay, if I draw, this is the nostril. Okay, nostril. This is the nostril. Now, the respiratory system of human consists of the first one nostril, N-O-S-T-R-I-L. This is the pharynx. Pharynx is common for both digestive and respiratory system. And this is called a trachea. Trachea, you can see there are cartilaginous rings. You can see the cartilaginous rings here, cartilaginous rings. Why there is cartilaginous rings? This cartilaginous rings prevent the collapse. They prevent the collapse of the trachea. Trachea is also called windpipe. Windpipe. So prevent the collapse of the trachea. Trachea will not be collapsed. Always it is kept open so that the air can easily pass through it. So cartilaginous rings prevent the collapse of the trachea and always kept open. Now inside the chest, the trachea divides into two branches. The two branches you can say bronchi, B-R-O-N-C-H-I, singular bronchus. Now the bronchi or each bronchus divides into smaller branches. You can see lot of branches. They divides into many branches. These branches we call bronchioles. Each bronchiole you can see that each bronchiole ends with a balloon-like structure. Balloon-like structure. Lot of balloon-like structure. Inside the lungs. So this is the lung. Okay? And here also another lung. So we can understand that this will break down or divides into many branches. So the bronchiole, each bronchiole ends in a small air sac-like structure, balloon-like structure called the alveoli. So the lung is filled with the alveoli. You can see. The lungs are filled with the alveoli. So what is that alveoli? Alveoli are air sacs. The bronchiole ends in alveoli. Each bronchiole ends in each alveolus. Okay? And in this way, the alveolus is terminated. Is the terminal organ of the lungs. So we can start from this nostril, they pass through the trachea, then bronchi or bronchus, then bronchiole, and ultimately the air reaches the alveoli or air sacs. Air sacs, if I draw this alveoli and one air sac, the air sacs are literally supplied in blood vessels. Air sacs contain extensive supply of blood vessels. Air sacs contain extensive supply of blood vessels. The oxygen coming into which one oxygen is coming into the alveoli? So the alveoli contain more oxygen. Now, oxygen diffuses into the alveoli and the blood around the alveoli contains carbon dioxide. This carbon dioxide will go back. So oxygen entering into the alveoli and carbon dioxide will go to the lungs. So in this gaseous exchange takes place in the alveoli. So how is alveoli designed for gaseous exchange? Alveoli are very thin-walled air sacs. Thin-walled. One cell thick they are. Thin-walled. Okay? And we can understand that it contains extensive supply of blood vessels. Extensive supply of blood vessels. What? Extensive supply of blood vessels. So the gaseous exchange can take place between the blood and the alveoli. Understood? So oxygen enters into the blood, diffuses into the blood, and carbon dioxide from the blood diffuses into the alveoli. So this oxygen and carbon dioxide will go back to the nostril and give out. So the process of taking in oxygen is called inhalation, and giving out is called exhalation. This process of breathing, how it happens? While breathing, you can understand that we have ribs like this. we have ribs. Okay, ribs are these. Ribs. So what happens, during the process of breathing or inhalation, we can understand that during inhalation what happens, the diaphragm, here is a diaphragm, muscular word, diaphragm move downwards, and the ribs move upwards. Diaphragm move downwards and ribs move upwards, and the thoracic volume space increases. When volume increases, the pressure decreases here. So the air will rush into the lungs. That is called inhalation. Whereas in exhalation, the diaphragm move back to the position and the ribs will come back to the earlier position, and the volume of the space of the chest cavity decreases, then pressure increases. As a result, the air will be pushed out. That is called exhalation. So inhalation and exhalation is due to diaphragm and the ribs muscles. Clear or not? Everybody is clear. Okay. So that's all about this chapter. Thank you very much.